You're the boss now. You can talk to the director, can't you? Ask for me, even a small job, anything at all. Boiler operator, janitor, sweeper. Do something. And that's when everything changed. Ludmila looked at him for a long time, a very long time. Then she said calmly, when I was promoted, you and your mother said my place was in the kitchen, not in a boss's chair. You laughed. You humiliated me. You threw away my badge like it was trash. So go ask your mother to talk to the director. She seems to know everything about what a woman should do. Victor stepped back as if he had just been slapped. Are you taking revenge? No, I'm simply done saving you. The next day, Ludmila did something simple, radical, and final. She separated the bills. Her share on one side, his on the other. She put Victor's amount on the refrigerator under a magnet. When he saw that, he flew into a rage. What's this, your share? You're crazy. I don't have a job anymore. That's not my problem. You're kicking me out. No, I'm just done supporting you. Raisa Semyonovna immediately burst in, outraged and theatrical. You have a duty to feed your husband, she shouted. It's your duty as a wife, Ludmila turned to her. My duty is to keep my workshop running, not to be the unpaid servant of a grown man and his mother. The old woman was left speechless, and yet the worst was still to come. Victor spent 2 months looking for work, without conviction, without discipline, without truly questioning himself. Everywhere he was told the same thing. Too old, not trained enough, not suitable. The world was moving forward, but he was not. Little by little, he started drinking more. His mother went around the neighborhood painting Ludmila as a cold monster. She claimed that her son had been abandoned, that her daughter-in-law was making mountains of money and refused to give him even a piece of bread. But people were not fooled. They knew Ludmila. They knew who had always helped without saying a word. They also knew who had been taking advantage of whom for years. Then came the decisive day. One afternoon during her break, Ludmila stepped out of the factory to smoke a cigarette near the boiler. The air was gray, damp, biting. She only needed 5 minutes of silence. And then she saw him. Victor was waiting for her near the gate, poorly shaven, his jacket wrinkled, his back hunched, his face drawn. He approached slowly. Ludmila, he murmured. Give me 500 rubles to buy bread. Mila, buy bread. 700 rubles, she looked at him. His eyes fell on his hand, then on the pocket of his jacket. A cheap bottle was sticking out slightly. So she asked very simply, the bread costs 42 rubles. Who will pay the rest? Your vodka? He lowered his eyes. 1 second. Just one, but that's enough. At that moment, a former employee of the factory passed by them. A respected old foreman who knew the whole story. He greeted Ludmila respectfully, then looked at Victor with an icy expression. Who is that? He asked. Yet everyone knew that he was her husband. But in that question, there was everything. The downfall, the shame, the erasure. Ludmila looked at Victor, the man who had laughed at her promotion. The man who had tried to trample on her dignity. The man who thought she would keep carrying him no matter what he did. And she answered in a clear voice, someone who has chosen his own life. Then she added, and I will no longer pay for his choices. Victor did not protest. He did not shout. He didn't even pretend to be hurt anymore. He understood. He understood that he had just lost the only person who had kept him standing for years. Not because she had abandoned him, but because he had spent too much time despising the one who supported him. That same evening, Raisa Semyonovna cried in the kitchen, he's my son. What will become of him? Ludmila poured herself some tea, calm and composed. What he chose to become. You're cruel. No, I just stopped being naive. The next morning, Victor was gone. On the table, a simple note folded in 4. I'm going to my sister's. Forgive me if you can. Ludmila read the note without trembling, without tears, and without anger either. She folded it carefully, then threw it in the trash. And for the first time in a very, very long time, the apartment seemed breathable to her. The silence was no longer empty, it was peaceful. She walked over to the window. Outside, the city went on as always. Cars drove by, the sky was gray. Hurried people walked with their heads down. On the surface, nothing had changed. And yet, everything had changed. Because one day, a woman who was meant to be reduced to a cook, a servant, a convenient shadow in an apartment that was too small, had decided to remember who she was. Not a victim, not a crutch, not a woman in her place as defined by others, but a woman standing tall, a woman who had worked, endured, understood, and finally said no. And sometimes the most powerful word in a life is not, I love you, it's simply enough.